Ray Smith, Wall Street Journal. AI is starting to threaten white-collar jobs. This Google part of this is the scary part for me. But Challenger Grand Christmas, which keeps an eye on your job, my job, everybody's job, says we're just getting a drip from the faucet. 4,600 job cuts so far directly related to AI. And this just isn't the worker bees, is it, Ray?
No, you're absolutely right. It's not just the worker bees. There's evidence and studies showing that this is going to affect middle managers, people up the food chain, if you will. So it's not just entry-level workers or the worker bees. It's definitely going to hit managers as well.
Two of the big stories that came out that you guys highlight is a UPS job cuts with AI. But Google, record profits at Google. And Google is still whacking a bunch of people. Is this because they can? Because it certainly isn't doing the right thing and keeping human beings around. They're making money. Why do they need to cut the humans?
Well, that's a really good question. And one of the things that we were careful to distinguish between with AI and these companies and these layoffs is that some of it is just shifting investments to AI development. So it's less about actually taking a job and putting, an AI machine there instead. But it's more about basically diverting resources to faster growing parts of the business. So in Google's case, it looks like they are just spending more investment into AI development and less from other departments. And so that's one of the ways that AI impacts jobs as well.
What about healthcare? Because we've heard now we've got AI taking in all the records and sometimes doing the research. I think in a way it's good, but then it can also, again, like you're saying, eliminate those jobs in the healthcare world as well.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting that you brought that up because I had a conversation recently after the story ran with someone who is working on like an AI doctor. And one of the points he was making was that it takes out, as you said, a lot of those initial, those forms you fill out and all and so that is a real issue. But what's going to happen to those people who used to do that work? And some companies will say that those people either will have to find another job or their roles will evolve. So that person who used to take all those notes will now do something else, maybe even more meaningful and less grunt work. So that can be one outcome.
Well, it's hard to find a job as a blacksmith these days. I can't seem to get work with my cotton gin. So times change and things change. But things have changed so fast. Asking the workforce to redevelop new skills as quickly as technology is developing just doesn't seem like a match.
That's a really good question, and a lot of people are concerned about that. And there's always going to be some human aspect that needs to oversee all this technology. And so one benefit can be that there are new roles created for that purpose, or at least new roles that are created that have AI in their titles. That people can sort of use those skills to learn and perhaps forge new careers. But, there's a lot of competition among companies, almost like this arms race, because they're looking over the competitors' shoulders at who's using AI and what are they doing. And so it really remains to be seen how long-lasting this will be. And people have pointed out since my story ran that, the technology is not perfect. And some companies may realize, this thing is making too many errors. We may want to back off. So a lot of this remains to be seen.
There's union protections in a lot of places to keep people in their jobs, but not everywhere. For instance, UPS has a lot of union workers, and UPS doesn't operate on the same profit margins that Google does. Is that going to be enough to stem the tide, though, the union efforts to keep people working?
Yes, it can be in some cases. We saw some of that with the writer strike, I believe, in Hollywood. And it just depends on how strong that contract language is. And, companies are in a bind because, let's face it, AI can improve productivity and efficiency. And companies are going to have to decide, basically what's more important to them. So it all depends on the contract language, but also depends on where the company's priorities are.
So I worry if these jobs are cut, where are we all going to start making our money? Again, find different ways of using AI so you can be useful. Are they teaching the proper use of AI yet in college courses?
Do they
I wonder.
know?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many. There's one AI program that could do a whole transcript, say, of a radio interview or a television interview, which is great because who wants to sit down and transcribe all of these words? But at the same time, could be, maybe the intern's job or somebody who started. Where are they going to make the money, and are they teaching it yet? And do we know?
Yeah, in fact, an excellent question. I just had a conversation with a professor from NYU's business school yesterday who we were talking about this very thing. And yes, there are some colleges that are doing training, and there are some companies that are also, training people as well. And the point of some of the training is that it's almost like AI proofing your job. It's basically you want to be skilled enough in AI that it doesn't replace your job, but that it makes you do your job better. So that's the hope, that even, for an intern, maybe that job won't be the same as it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but it'll be AI assisted. And as long as that college student has some AI proficiency, they'll be able to still get jobs, but they'll hopefully AI will assist them in doing those jobs better or doing more meaningful work rather than grunt work or busy work. And so that's the optimist potential. But there are huge concerns that even with training, what jobs are going to be available for these people, and so it's a real big concern.
Last question, Ray Smith, Wall Street Journal, and read the AI piece on white collar jobs threat from AI. But the last question ever, is anybody talking to you yet about the public service and public image problem these major companies are going to have in a world of cancel culture if they start cutting swaths of thousands and thousands of jobs being replaced with bots? Aren't you going to see mass protests? Because those dominoes fall in a million different ways, from tax base in communities to supporting restaurants and businesses around the areas where the humans would work, to supporting the health insurance that we need. When do the people protests matter to these companies?
Yeah, in fact, I'm so glad you asked that, because companies are really careful when they talk about this because they do get blowback. They have gotten blowback. UPS is an example where they were really pushing back against this idea that they were replacing jobs with AI. It's just bad public relations. And so the companies are really careful in the way they talk about this and the way they talk about how it affects jobs. But you're absolutely right. When people get wind of this or get a hint of this, it really does prompt some strong reactions. And so companies have to be really careful about how they message this.
And are you willing to pledge that you are actually, Ray? You're not a bot.
AI.
You're not a bot, right? I mean, you're real.
We're going to have to learn how to prove that. Yeah.
Oh, we don't even know.
We're going to have to prove it. Are you real?
Ray Smith, Wall Street Journal. Thank you, man.
Thank you.